Hello everybody and welcome to episode 3 of the weekly Mewsings, the third week in a row that I remember to do this. Today we're going to be talking about how to participate in tournaments and more specifically how to be a good participant in tournaments. So we are in tournament season right now. It's gone full swing. $6,000 tournaments left and right. Enter them all, play them all. Get as much prizes as you can. Get those juicy packs. Open the mythic. Brag about how you're a play-to-earn success story, right? However, to do that, first thing you're going to need to do in tournaments is follow rules. So the key for tournament participation is number 1, find the tournaments, which is easy because you can just look in the comment section of this video. It's like the easy button. Just follow me and I'll lead you to the tournaments. I'm that nice. Once you're at the tournaments, every tournament is going to have a unique rule set. Make sure to read the rules, and this might sound basic, but this is a very commonly unfollowed step. Read the rules, understand the rules, and make sure to follow the rules exactly. So, for instance, the tournament that is about to wrap up this Saturday, Sunday, whenever it wraps up, the TS tournament, there's a specific list of cards banned. The key is you need to make sure you read the list, understand the list. When you're building decks for the tournament, what I recommend is naming your decks whatever tournament you're in, because right now, there are going to be multiple tournaments that overlap. So if you can just name your deck the name of the tournament, then you know that, hey, this deck is safe for this tournament. Like I was naming all of my TS tournament decks TST. And that way I know that, hey, this is not running Dark Knives. This is not running Wildfire. This is not running Pyramid Warden. This is not running Demogorgon. This is not running banned cards that would normally be in those archetypes. So first thing is just build your decks and name them appropriately. And make sure you're being careful in the deck building process. It's never a bad idea to recheck before you go into direct challenge mode that you've got the right deck selected and that that deck is legal. Go ahead and double check the rules. Most common thing is just sloppiness. Most common way to get disqualified from a tournament is sloppiness from the rule following perspective. And I'll give you another example. The third tournament in the GU Stakes series is a tournament where you have to play one of 6 different decks. So you have to go ahead and just copy the deck code and not edit it. The key is what I would recommend for anybody participating in that tournament. Copy all 6 decks, name them trash deck. Make sure that it's obvious. That's literally what I'm naming them. But it's very obvious. These are welcome-only decks. And not only are they welcome-only decks, they're really poorly built welcome-only decks. So it's like almost as bad as the welcome decks in Gods Unchained. Slight upgrades, but they're really, really bad. So you never want to accidentally queue with that in another tournament. So just name it like something like Trash Deck or Trash Deck Tournament or something like that. Name all your decks and then you don't have to edit those ever because that one is as simple as you can only play one of 6 decks and you just copy, paste, run it in. So the first thing is just making sure you're not queuing anything illegal. That's very basic. So that, I think, is something that really shouldn't have been needed to be said, but is something that, as a tournament organizer before, it comes up more than you think. Now, let's talk about probably the main point of this video, and that's timeline understanding and matchup scheduling. So, the most common mistake I see in tournaments is people just DM people. And I guess this might be fine in certain situations if you know you're friends with the other person, you know they're going to be responsive, and you just want to keep communication between you two, and you can agree to a time, and you're good to go. Excellent. However, most of your tournament matches, and for me this is still the case even though I'm very active in the community, most of my tournament matches are against people I don't even know. So the first step you should always do when you know your opponent is you should add them in the tournament Discord. Oh yeah, another step I forgot to mention. Make sure you just join the Discord server of whatever tournament you're playing in. And it would be a good idea for your name to somewhat match whatever it is on the Discord server, match whatever it is in like the tournament bracket you showed up in. Like if you entered the tournament on challenge and your name is something, it should be that same thing in the Discord so you'd be easily found. And you can change your name for each individual Discord server as well. But for this, make sure you go in, you add your opponent, so you get a public record. That puts the ball in their court. And what you should do with your first message is you should say, "Hey, I'm in this time zone. I'm in UTC -5. That is the central time zone of the United States." It's good to quote with UTC time zones because we're dealing with places from all over the world. So just saying you're in central time in the United States doesn't mean as much to somebody in Asia. Like, it doesn't. They don't know exactly what that time zone is off the top of their head, most likely. So you just go ahead, tell them what time zone you're in, and send them a public message. If after they respond, you take most of your conversation private, that's good, so you're not spamming the servers. You really only want to make sure you've got public effort put forth in case that the match doesn't get played. So for instance, this exact thing happened in one of my rounds in the TS tournament. So I was in the round of 32 waiting on two people who were in the round of 64. They basically only communicated in direct messages. So when clock struck midnight Eastern time, which was the end of the round, the tournament organizers had to make a decision. And what happened was they decided to move forward one person who wasn't communicating at all. The other person was very active in DMs, but they never agreed to a match. So they advanced the person who was just the higher seed out of basically laziness. And then I tried to coordinate with that same person that got pushed forward to the next round, in the round of 32. And of course, I'm using my methods of public, "Hey, let's play. And the person's like, "Can we play tomorrow?" But the round ended, but every round's 24 hours. So that person couldn't play for a 2-day span and was just being non-responsive, hoping to get advanced to the next round or something. So if that person's round of 64 opponent had messaged publicly, like added, "Hey, can you play at this time?" or "Hey, I'm in this time zone. When will be a good time for you to play?" If they had gone out and put forth the effort just publicly instead of the DMs, you only really need to have one message publicly just to show signs of life. Because when tournament organizers are looking to disqualify somebody, that's what they go into. Another idea is, let's say the majority of your conversation has been in DMs. You've reached a standpoint. You've reached a point where you know the match is not going to be played. The other person's being unreasonable. They're like saying, "I can only play from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. your time," and come on, that's not fair. So basically, what you should do is you should take the DM conversation, screenshot it, send it to the tournament organizer before the end of the round. That way they have more information to make a decision so they can decide who to push through. Well, every tournament has a schedule that it needs to fall under. And if you and your opponent can't agree to a match time before that round ends, then somebody will be put through via disqualification. And the way that you secure yourself being on the right side of the disqualification metric is public communication. And this is and that is just something that is super, super common for me that I see. Another thing that pops into my head is supporting the streams. So one way you can participate in the community is by watching the streams of some of these casting. This isn't a direct way to participate in the tournament, but a lot of information can be gained. One, you get to see what other people are playing, which can help you build decks and further yourself in the tournament. Two, they give away free cards all the time. So most of these tournament organizers have a stream. Support their stream. Watch the content. Get free stuff. I got a Demogorgon from a tournament once. It's not unheard of to get something really, really nice. So those are basically my key points. So in summary, when you're playing a tournament, what should you do? The first thing that you should do is you should register for the tournament. You should observe the times of the tournament, so the time frame. If you can't play during one of the rounds, then don't enter the tournament. Just don't do it. Like if you know that you can't play on Tuesday and Wednesday, and this is a tournament that has 24-hour rounds, don't take away a slot from somebody else. These are free tournaments. They've got great prize pools. They're having them every single week. There'll be other opportunities to play. So check the time frame. If you can play in the time frame, that's great. Make sure to read the rules of the tournament. Enter the tournament. Most of these rule sets are going to be unique. So generally, I think everyone's really had chances in all of these so far, and definitely the welcome cards, pretty much anyone has a chance, same chance as anyone in those. So make sure you understand the rules. Then once the tournament starts, pay attention to the timeline of the tournament very actively. Make sure you get your games in on time. Make sure when you're trying to schedule games that you're scheduling it within the scheduled times, because it's just not fair for future opponents if you schedule outside of those times, and then organizers, they can just decide the match before you even get to play. So the key here is public communication. Stating your availability is absolutely key. State your time zone, make that public. Then after your opponent answers, you can take it to the DMs and get a time. If ever there is a time that you can't agree to a time before the round ends, make your information known to the tournament organizers so they can make their decision on who to push forward, or possibly grant you a one-time exemption if you're only playing just a little bit after the round. Though I don't recommend doing that, because some people just get in the habit of playing late every single round, and it just messes up the flow of the entire tournament. Anyways, tournaments are meant to have fun. It's for me, it's the most enjoyable part of Gods Unchained, and it's not a coincidence that my first 3 videos of Weekly Musings have been talking about tournaments. Hope you all have a great day, and I will see you again next week if I remember to do this.